I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this 368th. Welcome to this 368th episode of the Political Spotlight. It's Sunday evening. It's another long and cold day here in East Central Indiana, but we are back at work, ready for the new work week to get underway tomorrow. If you're watching this live, tomorrow is obviously Monday, January 13th. If you're watching this at some point in the future, I don't know what tomorrow is for you, but we're going to be talking about tomorrow, January the 13th. That's going to be a big day here in the state of Indiana. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the city of Muncie. I've got one specific viewer out there that if I don't cover the Muncie Board of Works meeting from last week, and if I don't cover the Muncie Sanitary District Board from last week, they are probably going to do something horribly bad to me. So we'll be doing that. We'll be looking at that. And we're also going to be talking a little bit more in depth about my thoughts on what's going on with the state of Indiana versus Joshua Kimbrell. And then we'll talk a little bit, maybe we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with Louis Galligan, who should be coming back here to start his process of years worth of delays. So we'll talk about all of that and more here on this 368th episode. Welcome. If you're here, thank you for being here. If you're watching live, we thank you for being here live across all of our many different platforms. We're on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook and Twitter or X and a couple different things live. We'll be on other programs then after the live episode airs. So thank you for listening live or in replay. If you're here live, we would ask you to please do us a favor and give us the finger or I said it backwards. Give us the thumb before giving us the finger. If you could click on that thumb, that would be very helpful. Feed the algorithms. That would be wonderful. Look here. We've got a member for 12 months. LOL, glutton for punishment. Hey, Lenny, I'm glad you're here. Sir, stick around just momentarily, because you asked me a question the other day on a comment, remember? And I answered you. Well, I have updated information specifically for you tonight about that. So I have some updated information that we're going to talk about. I talked about it the other day just briefly, but but I said I would go more in detail, and I think you weren't on when I said I talked about it. So I'm glad I saw you, and thank you for your subscription there, folks. This is our job here. This is how we live and what we do. And so thank you for being here, helping us out, watching the commercials. I don't understand how the commercials work with live, but you don't miss anything. And then if you're watching in replay or repeat, I do want to say this. YouTube gives us a little bit of leeway with where the commercials are or whatever, and I've never really messed with that. If you're somebody that watches this on repeat, especially, and you have an issue with how the commercials are breaking the content up, please let me know, because we can go in there and toggle with them a little bit to try to make them in a little bit more palatable places. If you think that there are too many commercials in an episode that would be an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours long, I would say any more than 3, 5 to 6 second commercials that you can skip if you so choose. Let me know. I get commercials at the very beginning and end when I'm watching live. That's really strange. And Space Cat, you're the one I'm talking about. I don't know if you just saw this or not, but we are going to be reviewing those meetings. So that's weird. My grandparents talk about commercials live too. I don't really understand how they do that because we have no control over that. It's not like we're saying, is here. I saw what you said yesterday. You're the second person that's told me that I heard what you said yesterday. Alva said that to me yesterday about the night before too. So I was telling you that I liked your stuff, and we were afraid that my grandmother ran you off, is what I said. We had a joke for you, a real kind of punny joke. Kate does not like puns. She's not a very punny person, and Brandon and I tend to try and pun her to death. But I told a very good Joe Black joke yesterday, but you weren't here to hear it, so take that. So, all right, folks, this is going to be kind of in Indiana. We're going to be looking at what's going on in the state of Indiana, and then obviously talking about what's going on in Muncie. We've got some Muncie things to talk about. And then, as I said, we've got to talk about my thoughts about what's going on here with this Josh Kimbrell crap. So I hate talking about it. It is what it is. We'll get to it. And I don't hate talking about it because I'm like, oh, no. I hate talking about it because he should be in prison already, and this should have been a done deal long ago. But it is, I guess, what it is. So thank you for being here. Scientists discovered beer contains small traces of female hormones. All right, wait for the punchline. To prove the theory, they gave 200 men 12 pints of beer each and observed that 100% of them started talking nonsense and couldn't drive. Hey-o! You have to pay. Well, you know why you have to pay YouTube to not have any commercials? Because that gets broken down into like half of a third of a 23rd percentage of a penny to all of the content creators. So, yeah, the commercials do help us. I'm just saying specifically for the people that watch after the fact. No, if you are one of those people, you're clearly not hearing it right now. You're hearing it right now when you're. It's kind of like time travel, because as I'm saying this right now.
No, it's Spaceballs.
Yes.
It's the scene from Spaceballs.
Yes. That's hilarious. That is right. Oh, God. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do we want to start with? All right. Tomorrow. Does anybody know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is January 13th. And no, it's not a Friday. Unfortunately, it's Monday. But tomorrow, the wait a minute. Hold on. Pause. I want to make sure that I didn't skip this. Let me look at this here real quick. I want to make sure I didn't mess this up here. Okay. We're going to start out with the state stuff, but I wanted to make sure. I thought that I had one thing. Oops. I messed that right up. I thought that I had one other thing that I wanted to talk about first, but I guess I don't. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. Where? Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, so tomorrow is the big day for Mike Braun and Micah Beckwith. Thank God it's finally here. That way, maybe Rob Kendall can go back to talking about some shit that the rest of us care about at some point. I think he's jumped the shark. I think this whole deal with Beckwith has completely ruined him. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even going to talk about that any further. He's almost became unlistenable. The only reason I have to still do it, and I don't listen to long stretches, is I just kind of peek in every now and then to just kind of make sure, what's going on, because I like some of the guests like Abdul, and I like to hear what some of the other folks are saying. And then every now and then, if I tune in, I get to hear the likes of our favorite state representative, J.D. Prescott. I was talking to Brandon yesterday, and J.D. Prescott was on the Kendall and Casey show on Thursday or Friday, and I was going to listen to it, but I actually haven't brought myself to listen to the whole segment yet. But I guess I'll try to do that after the show. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. Yeah, it's Braun's turn to see what all kind of nonsense that can go on here in the state of Indiana. So tomorrow, the festivities kick off at about 9 a.m. and the live swearing in event will begin at 11 a.m. And he'll be back on here directly to talk about some state house happenings. So that's very true, John. So the swearing in for Braun will start at 11 a.m. tomorrow. On the night before today, and this weekend, Braun has been busy naming some last-minute individuals to lead various state agencies within the new administration. Braun obviously is, like I've said, is scheduled to be sworn in tomorrow, and the new folks named John Ford, Executive Director of the Office of Energy Development. Ford is a former state lawmaker who's been running Reliable Energy, a trade association formed in 2020 by Alliance Coal and Haldor Energy to advocate for Indiana's coal industry and other energy producers. Stacy Hughes, Executive Director for the Education Employment Relations Board. Jake Spear, Indiana State Librarian. Thank God we've got one of those. Clint Woods, the Commissioner of the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Woods is a former Deputy EPA Air Chief who moved to academia. Terry Seitz, Executive Director of the White River State Park. Matt Brown, Director of the Indiana State Personnel Department. And Joe Hoge, Executive Director of the Indiana Gaming Commission. Agency leadership that has not been specifically named will remain in their current roles through the upcoming inauguration, which a release said would ensuring continuity and stability. Each agency's performance and the work of current leaders will be assessed to determine if the remaining in their roles will be a best fit for the Braun administration. A few key agencies that don't have leaders include the Department of Workforce Development and the Department of Revenue. Braun has also unveiled new cabinet organizations as a part of his administration, including the appointment of Molly Kraft as the Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications and the Office of the Governor. So there are a couple of big spots that have been named in there. Of course, are a couple of spots where there are going to be holdovers from the Holcomb administration. Outgoing Governor Eric Holcomb is the 52nd governor of the state of Indiana. He's the 51st governor of the state of Indiana. Thus, Braun will be the 52nd governor. Suzanne Crouch is actually the 52nd lieutenant governor, and that will make Micah Beckwith the 53rd. So there's one number off between them. So that'll be that. Listen, I don't hold out much hope. And what's funny is you've had Kendall and Casey, who have been on Braun's nuts since this thing has started, the last 10, 11 months. And as we get closer to the big day, you've got Rob has been saying, well, it's all going to come down to what he does here. It's all going to come down to what goes on here. If he doesn't get this property bill done the way that he said he's going to do it this year, he's going to be a one-term governor. He's going to be a one-term governor, and we're going to make it happen. He doesn't want to screw us over, because Rob is convinced. Rob is absolutely convinced that he is the reason that Braun won, which is comical to me. So I don't know. I just, my thing is, I don't look for anything to change. Braun is not going to be the only thing that is changing up is the way that Braun has structured his cabinet. He's going to like the secretarial. So the Indiana government is going to be basically set up the way that the federal government is set up. You will have a cabinet, and you will have secretaries that lead all of these different agencies. At the last hour, our newly elected Delaware County Councilor, Brad Bookout, has not been named to a position yet. I still have a lot of people that are just completely shocked by that. There's a lot of people that absolutely have still just really went to bat for the idea that Bookout is going to have some kind of position in the Braun administration. And I'll tell you, I don't know if he was supposed to, and he's been overlooked, and he's now mad and hurt or pissed off. I don't know what's going on, because it would be one thing if this is just something that I thought and I was wrong about. I would be okay with that. And I would be willing to admit, hey, look, I'm wrong with this. I was wrong. But I'm hearing this from a lot of different sources. And it's sources from different sides of the political spectrum. It's people that get along, people that don't get along. And it's some really higher up folks that are really shocked that Bookout has not been named. And so the fact that he hasn't is really, really strange. So I don't know. Maybe he thought he was going to be I don't know, because then he also has apparently made it known that he's not going to be putting in a renewal for the contracts. And I think it's interesting that he's made this decision to walk away from all of that money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, just all for the sake of being a public servant. I mean, I guess maybe stranger things could happen. Maybe he's going to just absolutely shock me. Maybe for once, this is going to, instead of supporting somebody and then, just absolutely turning out to be a royal turd, maybe this is going to be a situation, another situation like with Steve Dellinger and Bobby Plummer down in Newcastle. When they first took over, I did not like them. And I thought that they were horrible. And they quickly grew on me. And I realized that they were good. So that might very well be. Let me see, what did Kate say here? Especially when Piper specifically told him that she didn't think it was going to be an issue. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Beckwith acted like a child with a school that didn't want to hear his message. Yeah, that's really strange. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about with this is, looking at what's going to come from this. I don't think that Hoosiers are going to see anything major change between Holcomb and Braun right here, at least for a little bit. I think it's going to be just a continuing of the status quo. It's going to be Holcomb. I don't know. In most of these cases, they'll say like it'll be the next thing is something 2.0, but I don't know if it's going to be better or if it's going to be like negative. It's like Holcomb negative 2.0. It's going to be Holcomb, but worse. I don't know how you really would word that, but as far as Beckwith, I think that people are going to notice some major differences between Suzanne Crouch, which, let me tell you, was a turd. Suzanne Crouch was horrible. I didn't like Suzanne Crouch. So it's not like, yay, Suzanne was great and, it's horrible Beckwith's here. No. Listen, I was ready to give Beckwith the benefit of the doubt. I was ready to rock and roll with him. He went in and he beat the establishment down just to immediately, like instantly, do a backflip and become part of the establishment. Now, listen, I know people's like, oh, he's doing this with this school, and look, he's still very outspoken. I don't care what that means. He just pisses everybody off. He's pissing off the establishment people, and he's pissing off the people who were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, I know he still has a lot of sycophants that are out there that think that this guy is, the end all be all for the state of Indiana government, but he's just not shown me anything like that. And he's too close to some of the most bizarre people in Indiana government. And I have a problem with that. I have a real problem with that. And then, he does things like this. So I want to show you this here. This is something that came up, and this is, let's see here. I want to put this out here and show you this for a second. Trying to get Kate to, okay, I've got this screen up here where they're sharing the conversation about this. Where exactly was Beckwith's comments about the First Amendment? Do you recall?
Well, it's not Beckwith talking about it, but it's like the 4th or 5th paragraph down. If I'm
No.
not
But didn't he speak up about it? Didn't Beckwith have something to say about
I
this?
think it was on his Facebook.
Okay, let me go there here. I'll come back to this, but I do want to show. I do want to see. Okay, let's go to, because I know that Brando commented on it. I can't remember. This is what I was trying to look for earlier, and I couldn't. I'm gonna do one really weird thing tonight. I want to talk negatively about Beckwith, and then I'm going to support Beckwith, and that's going to be really strange. And I'll tell you why, and hopefully it will make sense. But okay, let me see if I can get this here. All right, we got to get past all of the amazing gala pictures they had. There was a big gala over the weekend.
January 9th.
Okay. January 9th. Okay. It's funny to me. Okay, right here.
We got Teresa on here. He shared the article and said people should follow the article, but the author is a moron.
Yeah, right here. Okay, so this is perfect. Yes. Okay. This is perfect. So, on his social media, okay, what the cat dragged in. Beckwith, all right, says Micah Clark of the AFA of Indiana clears up misunderstandings in regards to what Indiana Senate Bill 143 does in regards to parental rights and why folks should support this bill. All right, so if we click on that, that then takes us back to the original thing that I was sharing, which is here. Now, I want to did Beckwith have half a good idea? It's not that he had half a good idea. It's that there are some people that are attacking him that aren't attacking him for legitimate reasons and are saying quite literally some just crazy bullshit, and it's not good. And so I'm fine with pushing back and speaking against Beckwith, but you have to do it for legitimate reasons, and you shouldn't be making stuff up and making things seem far worse than they are, specifically using what these people are using. So stand by here just 1 second. All right. So the AFA of Indiana says, understanding the parental rights bill, which this is a Senate bill, which is currently being looked at by the Indiana State Senate. And it's a bill that's being considered by our state legislature right now. All right. So this guy says, I apologize for sending 3 emails this week, yesterday, this one, and tomorrow, but I feel it is needed to clear up some misunderstandings about an important bill before the Indiana General Assembly. As I noted yesterday, the Senate Judiciary Committee took testimony on Senate Bill 143 concerning parental rights. Unfortunately, there is a lot of misinformation from some conservative groups regarding language elevating parental rights unless the government can demonstrate that its governmental interest is applied to the person is of the highest order and not otherwise served in the least restrictive means. In legalese, this is known as strict scrutiny by judges and attorneys. As I noted, the language in Senate Bill 143 is supported by the Alliance Defending Freedom and Parental Rights.org and legal experts like Michael Ferris, formerly of the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. Many people are sending alerts or making calls because they think this opens the door for the government to do anything under the guise of a compelling interest. It is just the opposite. The government can do things to families now without having to show a compelling interest. The best way to think of this as a non-attorney is like a set of scales. Senate Bill 143 puts weight that is not present at the state level in Indiana on the side of parents that judges must weigh against government interest. it balances the scales from where they are lopsided now toward the government. Okay, now listen to this. No right, not even those in the Bill of Rights, is absolute. Excuse me? For example, the First Amendment does not protect obscenity. The hell it doesn't. What?
And there's a difference between obscenity and indecent.
Yeah, right.
And they're very clearly defined, legally speaking.
Yeah.
Indecent is me saying, fuck.
Yeah, right.
Obscene would be me dancing naked on stage, which is not happening anytime soon. Okay. But
right.
Okay. So that's the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
And it covers obscenity, profanity, and indecency. The only thing the government can do is say, well, that leans into indecency and therefore is only to be consumed after 9 p.m.
Right.
When there's no kids around.
Yeah, right. Well, it's this thing that he says, what
But there are court cases that defend obscenity.
Yeah. And I don't know if he goes on to say this, but what you always hear in this is you can't yell fire in a theater. And that's not correct. That's an ignorant statement. Sure you can. If it doesn't cause a panic, if the First Amendment utterances that you use do not cause insanity to occur, you can do that. If it's happening in such a way that the words, there has to be some context to that. I always hate when people say, well, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's not correct. That is not correct. Also, like Teresa's saying down here, who defines what obscene is? That's what my worry is with these officials that are like J.D. Prescott and Micah Beckwith and Bob McCoy and the people in Madison County and, so on and so forth, because, I'm sure that Ben Gale in Madison County finds it absolutely obscene that I stand up and challenge him while he is the president of the council. I'm sure that Susan Hoon in Henry County finds it obscene that I call her Susan Hoon the Loon. But that is not, obscene, and it's her word against mine. It's her definition against mine or against 10 other people. So this is crazy. He goes on. For example, the First Amendment does not protect obscenity. Under parental rights, a parent cannot sexually abuse a child and claim it's their right. Correct? That's a very weird, like he's made a really strange jump there. Talking about the Bill of Rights and talking about the First Amendment, and then he's jumping down saying, under parental rights, a parent cannot sexually abuse a child and claim it's their right. That's got nothing to do with the Bill of Rights or the First Amendment. The state has a compelling interest to protect the children from that.
Or obscenity.
What?
It also has nothing to do with obscenity.
It's also got nothing to do with obscenity. Sure, right. The thought and the idea of a parent sexually abusing a child, to me, is obscene, but that's not nothing that he's put together in that paragraph makes any sense. The language in Senate Bill 143 is very common, yet one irresponsible alert even makes this audacious claim. Once this is law, it opens the door for future overreach into your family's education, religion, and medical decisions, all under the guise of public interest. Another alert I saw said, get the facts. Don't let pseudo-Christian pro-family groups gaslight you. This was a direct attack against AFA Indiana and the Indiana Family Institute. I was the director of public policy with IFI for 10 years in the 90s, and I still work closely with them. I first promoted a parental rights bill in 1995 that made it through both chambers and to the last day of the session, only to die in conference late into the night. The American Family Association of Indiana and IFI are not lovers of government power, nor are we shills for it. Okay? Senate Bill 143 is a solution to such overreaches that occur now, written in a way that judges and attorneys understand, even if some activists may read bad things into it. By the way, the same language was used when IFI and AFAIN successfully helped pass a bill to protect churches from being shut down after the COVID mess left liquor stores and abortion clinics open, but shuttered many churches. It was the legal language commonly used to address such matters. But more importantly, we know how Senate Bill 143 will work, what it will and will not do. Why? Because 60% of the states have parental rights laws, and around half the laws like this with this kind of strict scrutiny language, including states like Alabama, Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Idaho, Oklahoma, each has this strict scrutiny provision with compelling government language. Do you think parents have more rights in conservative states like Texas and Florida with it, or in Indiana without it? Those 19 parental rights law states did not see a loss of parental rights with the passage of these laws or new government overreaches. That is the reality here. It's not gaslighting. It's a demonstrable fact. I encourage you to contact your state senator and ask them to support Senate Bill 143. Now, let's read, in case you guys out there have not read this. I want you guys, let's read this here, and so you guys can have an understanding of what Senate Bill 143 is. Okay, we'll go here and we'll take a look at this. Are we on the page? Oh no, we jumped it. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'll get us on the same page. Okay, here's Senate Bill 143. Provides that a governmental entity may not substantially burden certain parental rights unless the burden is in furtherance of a compelling governmental interest and is the least restrictive means of furthering the governmental interest. Prohibits a governmental entity from advising, directing, or coercing a child to withhold certain information from a child's parents, or denying a child's parental access to certain information. Allows a parent to bring action against a governmental entity for certain violations and provides for certain relief. Specifies that the parent of a child does not have the right to access certain medical care on or behalf of the child if the child does not have the affirmative right of access of the medical care. And this is Senator Liz Braun. And let's see here. Oh, yeah. I just saw this. The minor access of use of social media. So, I don't know. I just have a problem here. It's not like I'm saying that I just don't like it when you have these elected officials out here trying to say that no right from the Bill of Rights is absolute, and then they're running around claiming that they're conservatives. I have a major issue with that. I don't know how compelling governmental interest is the problem. Absolutely.
Well, these are the same people who, if you say anything about guns, will be up on a pedestal screaming, Second Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I thought no rights were absolute.
Right. Right.
You're making the argument for everyone that wants to ban guns. Thanks.
Yeah, right. What a massively wonderful conservative thing for you guys all to do, to get up there and literally say that no right is absolute. That is the exact opposite of what I want my conservative officials to be doing. Listen, I don't know about their rights. Maybe their rights aren't. My rights came from God. The government didn't give me my rights. The state of Indiana did not give me my rights. America did not give me my rights. My parents did not give me my rights. My right came from my Creator, and it's up to my state to protect those rights from other assholes out there. And it's up to my country to protect those rights from other assholes out there. It is not, this is insane that we are here in 2025 and we have quote unquote conservative activists and conservative legislators saying there's no right that's absolute. And Micah Beckwith's like, yeah, share this, read this, love it, pass it, share it, speak on it. That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So I don't know. I mean, I really think that we're going to have to watch. We're going to have to watch what Beckwith is doing. And the thing is, the governor-elect, who tomorrow will be the governor, has done literally everything they can do to strip Beckwith of basically any of his roles and responsibilities. And now we've got senators who are going even further trying to restrict him. Remember back when I was talking about all of the ways that the governor was stripping him of his duties, they reorganized things. And I said one of the last things that he had was being the head of the agriculture. Well, now there's a Senate bill that's working to strip him from having that. So they are removing literally all of his abilities, all of his duties, all of his responsibilities. While I think that they think that stripping him of having a job to do will be beneficial, I almost think it's kind of scary, because if they keep him essentially not busy, he's going to have all this time to run around doing all of these insane things that he's doing and saying all of these insane things that he says and picking all of these insane fights that he picks rather than being a public servant. My issue with Micah is he's on the Micah show. He's 24 hours a day. It's the Micah show. And it's all about Micah. And it's all about self-promotion. It's all about, look at who I am, look at what I'm doing, and keep me at the head of all of this and help me be bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's really scary to me. So I'll say that I'm really concerned about Beckwith. Now, at the same time that I say that, okay, I am also concerned, and I want to make sure that when we are fighting against him, no pickleball. No, that's all. Muncie's got all the pickleball stuff handled down. I don't think he's going to be coming to Muncie. Spend a lot of time in Muncie. I don't think he likes Muncie. The issue that the other side of this now is the people that are attacking him for things that are just wildly outrageous. And I want to show you an example of something that I'm concerned about, okay? And I'm concerned about this for anybody, for everybody. I'm really, let me get this pulled up here. This is something that people should be very careful with when they are making accusations and attempting to fight the fight. Let me. All right, here we go. Let's get this pulled up here. Let me see which one we are on. Okay, right here. All right, I want you guys to take a look at this.
Hi, I'm Mark Sloan, Civil Discourse Now. This is January 9th, 2025. We are going to be talking about an interesting topic today with a disgusting person as the focus of that conversation. And with us today, Cassie Jackson. Cassie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Is that dude going to pop out of his chair?
Gregory.
That's the thing I want to know. Like, is he a weeble wobble? Like, let's take a look at this again.
Topic today with a disgusting person as the focus of that conversation. And with us today, Cassie Jackson. Cassie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
What's
and
happening?
we got Gregory Vanderwegen. Gregory, how are you?
Doing all right. How about you?
Oh, just groovy. So we're going to talk about.
Now, I want you guys to listen to this, okay? I want to take any kind of allegation that someone makes. You have to take allegations serious, but you always have to give them a little bit of the sniff test to make sure what's happening here. What we're apparently going to be hearing is some allegations, and now understand, this is not something that I am putting forward. This is another show, and we are giving commentary on this show. And I want to make that very clear. I am not putting these claims out there. I've been following claims that a couple of these folks on this program that we're watching have been making over the last several months. While I have had issues with Mr. Beckwith, I have just been blown away by the things that have been said by some of the people on this screen, because to me, like, while I know it's very, 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 very hard to slander a political figure, I'm just like, dude, this is, to me, this walks as close to that as you possibly can get if it doesn't go over. All right, now let's listen to this. No, it's not a bong. He's got some kind of a drink, and it's like I think I watched the longer podcast. This is just a snippet. And it's like every time that he's asked a question, he's right before he starts to answer, he starts to take a drink. It's always very awkward. Watch this.
Indiana's lieutenant governor elect. He gets sworn in yet tomorrow, I think, the day after. and that would be Micah Beckwith. Beckwith did an end run on voters and was nominated by the Republican Party convention last summer. And
now back up. Right there, I have a problem with people trying to make it look more nefarious than what it is. He didn't look. Keep in mind, I'm not a big fan of Beckwith. He didn't do an end run around voters. He ran through the process that we currently have here in the state of Indiana. He didn't do anything crazy. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't like he found a loophole. The citizens of Indiana, do not elect by going to the poll and electing the lieutenant governor. We elect delegates that then vote for the lieutenant governor. All right. So how it's always been. So he just ran for the lieutenant governor spot, and it was the delegates that voted for him, that we voted for the delegates. So this wasn't like it doesn't happen this way frequently, but he didn't do like a in run. It wasn't something like that was dirty. It's just, it's actually, quite ingenious thinking. I wish that he was what he portrayed himself to be more than what he's turning out to be. Okay. So we'll go on. Damn it. I couldn't do that. I couldn't have done that. Again, if I tried, in a million years, I couldn't have done that. As I started to click back on the tab to watch the video, I hit the X button right at the exact wrong point. Okay, here we go. Sorry. That guy's shaking has me shook up. I'm all shook up. Okay, here we go. We're back. At least somebody else. So they hate when they do that.
He's about to become lieutenant governor, and the governor's office is stripping the office of lieutenant governor of a lot of the authority and powers that it has, because he's the one that's going to be coming in. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. But right now we're going to talk about Beckwith and on a more mundane level with his ministering world, or however you want to term it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say more mundane, because he's when you hear this, these are going to be some quite interesting little tidbits that Gregory has remembered and is going to share with us. But yeah, if you guys don't remember Gregory is one of Mr. Beckwith's child abuse survivors, and so he shared previously on a podcast I did with him about how Micah Beckwith entrapped him and would not let him.
Now listen, what she just said there, my fault, I talked through it because it seems like these people may or may not be on substances. I don't know. It just seems real fidgety. The claim they just made here is the gentleman over here with the bottle. The claim they made, and I'm not making this claim, the claim that they are making is that this gentleman in the red shirt with the red drink with the bottle is one of Micah Beckwith's child abuse victims. Now, I don't know what that means. He's never been arrested for child abuse. He's never, I don't know what these, I guess we're going to hear these claims, and you tell me what your thoughts are of this.
About how Micah Beckwith entrapped him and would not let him leave. And podcast I did with him about how Micah Beckwith entrapped him and would not let him leave. And one of Mr. Beckwith's child abuse survivors. And so he shared previously on a podcast I did with him about how Micah Beckwith entrapped him and would not let him leave. And there was more things to that I don't want to speak for you, but he also shared some new things with me that he's going to share with us now. So thanks for coming, Gregory. I appreciate it. You want to tell him anything else about yourself too? Sorry, that wasn't a very good introduction. If you want to.
I'll just get right to the point. So when I was 18 over at Northview, and
All right. So first off, he's 18. So he's 18. So while 18 in my eyes is young, in my eyes, it's a child. Legally, it's not a child. Okay. That's an adult. So so right off the bat, this dude's saying he's 18. All right. Right there. Let's absolutely. And let me tell you this. I am very strong. I feel like if somebody makes a false claim about an individual, okay? So let's just say for the sake of argument that a woman, woman B makes a false claim against John Doe for rape. And it is not true. It was a legitimate lie that she made, that never happened. She's just trying to get back at him. I feel like it's the same thing as almost being caught with a lookalike drug. If you're arrested for a lookalike drug, having a lookalike drug, you face the same charge as having that actual drug. I almost feel like if you accuse somebody of rape and they didn't commit rape, your penalty should be the same thing as what a penalty for rape would be. If you accuse somebody of child molestation, you've got parents that sometimes will do that. A mother will accuse the father, a father will accuse the mother, just trying to get nasty in the divorce. That's a problem, because these charges are so serious. Number one, it makes it harder for actual victims, and that's a problem. And number two, the amount of damage that this can do to a person's reputation, it never recovers fully from that, okay? And it is really rampant in family court. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. And this is very strange. So let's continue on here and hear what these, because again, they're making very serious claims that this man is a child abuse survivor of Micah Beckwith. So we're assuming that the allegations that he's going to make are serious.
I was sitting out in the seats, and Micah Beckwith got on stage, pulls out a guitar. He starts playing the guitar, and he's like, "Rub your neighbor's elbow, rub your neighbor's elbow." And then two of the youth leaders started rubbing my elbow, and the one next to me kept touching my elbow over and over again as I was repeatedly swatting his hand away. The one on the right stopped touching me after I swatted his hand away. But then when they said, rub your neighbor's knee, the one on the right started rubbing my knee, and then I swatted his hand away. And the one on the right stopped after that again. But the one on the left, he just kept touching my knee over and over again, and I eventually went outside.
And so they were encouraging them to do that to the other teens in the room?
Yeah.
The other teens were told to like rub their partners or like neighbors, like, that was the point?
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys like sitting down?
Sitting down, yeah.
And singing?
Well, Micah was singing.
And he was like, rub your neighbor's elbow, rub your neighbor's knee. I am Jesus freak. I am he. You like that, guys? That was a good one.
So, all right. First of all, like, I just cannot wrap my mind around what I'm hearing here. So, we're accusing somebody of a very serious crime while we're laughing and joking and making up ignorant and idiotic songs. But listen, I'm probably not going to pick up a guitar and tell anybody to rub anybody's elbow or tell anybody to rub anybody's knee. But I don't believe that telling somebody to rub somebody's elbow or specifically to rub somebody's knee, I don't believe it's child abuse. I mean, is it weird? Yeah, probably. I don't know. it's not child. I mean, so when this happened, did somebody make a police report? I mean, listen, everybody knows that youth pastors can kind of, they're trying to be silly and they're trying to do weird stuff. Like, you know, they're trying to keep these kids interested and then get out and do the thing. And everybody knows those youth pastors that can be, you know, a little out there. And I'm not making excuses for anybody that's doing anything wrong. And you know, I don't really know. I mean, but listen, if somebody next to me just started rubbing my knee, I don't like being touched, but I'm not going to be like, oh, you're abusing me. Like, I don't think that's, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're certainly reaching. So all right, let's John, let's listen to the rest of this here. And let's look at what a fun time they're having. I'm going to tell you, as a former law enforcement officer, I've talked to children. I've talked to adults that have had abuse as children. And they weren't smiling and singing songs and having fun about it. It was a traumatic event. Okay. These people seem to be having a lot of big fun with this.
But no, what was that? Like, wow, does the town
it was more country.
oh, okay. I won't try an impersonation. Okay, but it wasn't like a Christian song about rubbing each other's body.
It wasn't Christian oriented. It was just kind of supposed to, I think his goal was to try to be silly and funny, but it was just really.
And were the other teenagers?
So his goal, so this man, you know, when he was 18, knew that the goal, he said his goal was to try to be funny and silly. His goal wasn't trying to sexually arouse himself or any of the other people. His goal, you know, it might have been it might be misjudged. It might have been ignorant, but it didn't seem like there was any ill intent there.
Touching one another?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure they were loving that too. Okay. And then what else are we talking about? Anything else?
They played Valentine's Day musical chairs.
Oh, that's right. Listen to this, Mark.
Ooh.
So
this is
really bad. This is really bad. Now listen.
So I feel like the dopamine in my brain is kind of increasing a little
now,
bit.
Wait a minute. Let's listen to what you just said here. What are you saying?
I feel like I didn't sleep last night, so I feel like the dopamine in my brain is kind of increasing a little bit. So it's making.
I didn't sleep last night, so I feel like the dopamine in my brain is kind of increasing a little bit. So it's making me smile.
And making it harder for me to not crack up.
It's fine.
Yes,
No, I'm
making it harder for me to not crack up
because I had an Arnold Palmer last night that I didn't realize had caffeine in it.
Oh no!
Because I hadn't had an Arnold Palmer in years. Like I think the last time I had one was when I worked at McAllister's.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. So what were we?
And he told like all the guys if they wanted to play like.
Okay, here we're back to Beckwith, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Back to the musical chairs.
He told all the guys to find a girl, and then he told all the girls to sit down.
What? Wait. You didn't tell me this part. Okay, this is musical chairs on Valentine's Day at Micah Beckwith's church as a youth leader. This is what he wants the kids to do.
This wasn't Micah Beckwith. I think this was a different
youth leader. Okay, go on. This was the.
This isn't even Micah Beckwith. What we're getting ready to hear next, Micah Beckwith's not even involved in. Okay, so listen to this. Not everybody's a Lennon and McCartney. That is very true. So this is something that happened to him that Micah Beckwith wasn't even involved in. So let's listen to how Micah Beckwith should get the blame for something that someone else did. Go.
And then he told all the guys to like sit down like on a girl.
He, not Micah Beckwith, but he told all the guys to sit down on a girl's lap.
And if they couldn't find the girl's lap to sit on, they would be out.
Oh my gosh. So the girls were the musical chairs as they sat on the chairs. And then as the boys ran around, they sat, if they did, they got it. Oh man. Wow. Okay. And then did they do it the other time, the way with the boys sitting and the girls going?
No.
I bet they didn't. Well, look, they had some discretion apparently. Wow. Sure, the kids love that one too. And you did not participate in that?
Well,
he's like, well, this one, as a teenage boy, I was okay with this.
Well, they kind of had me manipulated into thinking that, like, Greg, if you want a girlfriend, you need to do this kind of stuff.
Did they say that?
Well, that was kind of the culture. That wasn't really what they said, but like.
So they didn't even say it. It was just the culture.
But like essentially, I sat on, like, my butt was like on the very edge of the girl's knee, and I felt really uncomfortable doing it. And I think after the first time I sat down, I'm just like, this is really awkward and uncomfortable. I'm gonna get up and go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean,
when
I'm
was
like,
this roughly?
And the girls looked really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm like being playful about this, but it's not funny at all. I mean, this is not, you don't, of all the places where you bring teenagers together in groups for whatever kind of community activity or support, like it's very weird to me that it's at the churches where they're singing songs about touching knees and elbows and encouraging that, and then having games where they're sitting on laps of other, I mean, that doesn't happen in a lot of other places where kids organize.
Yeah, how long ago was this, Greg? A year, 2 years?
I think the Valentine's Day musical chairs incident was when I was 17.
Okay. So, but how old are you now?
I'm 25.
So that was about 8 years ago. But that was when Beckwith was the youth leader at Northview Carmel Church, the Northview Church in Carmel.
And he's no longer there, am I correct?
No, he had to leave.
All right, so that's the end of the allegations. There's no further allegations. There's no further allegations. So in my opinion, there's no child abuse here. I guess there's something else. I didn't go into it. I'm just telling you, when someone sent this to me, I was like, dude, this is nuts. And so what I hate is this is what kills me. Is Mark Smalls is an attorney. The dude who needs his glasses straightened and needs to be like tied to the chair so he don't fall out is an attorney, and he is oftentimes a host on the a guest host on the Mouthwash podcast. Of course, Cassie Jackson is some kind of a content creator. Apparently, she's some kind of a nurse, I guess. I don't know. She's on TikTok, and she used to be a co-host on the Mouthwash. Had a show on there, but I think they've had some kind of a falling out or something. So I don't think there's anything. I don't know what goes on with there, but other content creators, and her whole shtick has been to bring down Micah Beckwith. And I just hate that, because what happens is then I get tied into like this kind of nonsense when I'm saying, well, I just want him to really be a conservative, and I just want him to not say things like, I support people who say that not all of our rights are absolute. I think that's crazy. And so what I think is bullshit is I get lumped into that group of people, because I'm literally just saying, hey, yo, I got an issue with some of the things that you're saying. Oh, you came on here and you said that JD's comparable to D-Day soldiers. Dude, you've got a couple screws loose. Like that's what the deal is there. Okay. And so, let me go back here, Tweety Bird. They just said it. He said it.
Northview Church in Carmel.
There you go. Northview Church in Carmel. So, Lenny. Well, yeah, no, Stumblefoot, because you've got some kind of normal train of thought, I would hope. And so, yeah, I would. Thank you for not lumping me in with what we're seeing here. And listen, I've got no problem with people that want to go after Beckwith. Okay, I'm not a big Beckwith fan. I don't like him, but I'm not going to call him a child abuser because he used to be a youth pastor and sang stupid songs to kids that were, out in the audience doing stupid things. And this guy who's been awake for, 24 hours because he had an I started to say it like an Arnold Palmer. Sorry, had an Arnold Palmer. And so because of that, he, it's a weird, yes, GW, right. Like, maybe if you're going to call him a child abuse person, you might actually find an actual child abuse victim. And then maybe then don't exploit them all by, I don't know. It's just a funky thing. So, I don't know. He's going to take office tomorrow, whether we love him, whether we don't like him, whether he's good, bad, or whatever. It's all done. He's going to be lieutenant governor tomorrow. He is the second most highest ranking elected official in the state of Indiana. Don't want anything bad to happen, but just for what it is, he is literally a heartbeat away from the governor's office. And I'll just tell you, I'll be honest, I don't believe that I wouldn't leave many children with many people. I don't think that Beckwith would hurt my children, but I'm much worried about Beckwith because of other issues. So we'll obviously be following Beckwith and what goes on. I think that shit is crazy, and it's out there in droves. If you want to check that out, that gentleman's show is called what is it called? Mark. It's just Mark Small. 10 subscribers. He's got 55 views on that, streamed 3 days ago. And I think I am probably like 25 of those views. So I know I sent it to Brandon, told Brandon to take a look at it, but that's that. And then Cassie Jackson, obviously she's on TikTok and YouTube, and you can find her everywhere by typing in Cassie Jackson. So that's that. I don't know. All right, moving on from that, I now want to go to the city of Muncie. We have a couple things in the city of Muncie we need to talk about. I have made the promise that we would look at last week's Board of Works meeting, the most recent Board of Works meeting from last week, and the Muncie Sanitary District meeting. And we also have a quick 2-minute and 30-second Mayor of Muncie, City of Muncie, Mayor community update that we can watch. So let's get through this Board of Works meeting. This is actually going to be the first Board of Works meeting back after the new year, when they switched it and they had a 3-minute meeting. So this is the first meeting back, which was on Wednesday the 8th of last week. So let's take a look at this, and we will then move back to we'll move on to the Muncie Board of Works. Give me 1 second here. Let me get this pulled up.
Everyone, and welcome to the January 8th meeting of the Muncie Board of Public Works and Safety. We apologize for the late start, but we did have some technical difficulties, but we're here now. If you'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Yeah, I move approval of the January 2nd minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Having none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. We have been presented the Register of Claims. Mr. Craig Wright from City Control.
Good morning. Sent out the claims yesterday afternoon. This is a credit card week, so there was some extra claims on there. Dealing with that, we did have some payments like for our IT department, which is the first of a semi-annual payment for that. And a lot of New Year starting payments, for instance, for annual software for the fire department, et cetera. We did do a second run last week on some utilities due to the holidays to make sure that those payments went out. And that was in for a total of $7,686.66. Prior to the meeting, there were some questions on some claims as far as reimbursements, et cetera, that I'll get the answer to in an email out to you guys. The amounts aren't large, but the descriptions on the pages aren't what they should be. So I will follow up on that. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
I have none other than those we talked about before the meeting that were descriptions, only minor amounts, but
Why are you
again,
talking before the meetings?
descriptions were not what we would require.
Will, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Yeah, and I just would agree that those are refined a little bit, a little more would be better. And
Especially for credit cards.
And why is he trying to look at?
Everybody had been doing so great.
Yep.
So, but we appreciate that. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the?
Why is he trying to look like
I move approval of the claims as submitted for $1,593,564.
Second.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. We have some items of new business. First of all,
How much was it?
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
$1,593,000.
Register of claims.
I move approval of the claims as submitted for $1,593,564.
Second.
Okay.
Woo!
Okay. Do we have any comments or questions?
Woo!
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. We have some items of new business. First of all, bid for reconstruction of the Columbus Avenue project. I believe we have Adam Leach from the engineering office, city engineer. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Adam Leach, city engineer. So this is for the award of bid for Columbus Avenue. So this one is a little different in your agenda packet. We'd initially noted that the low bid was JG Case. Their bid was, down to the bottom of this one, $2,379,068.10. In the process of due diligence and as brought up by another contractor, it was discovered that JG Case is not NDOT pre-qualified, which is a requirement per Indiana Code Title 8. And I can do the rest of the chapter and verse, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But that said, there is a requirement for those doing public road work in the state of Indiana for contracts over $300,000 to be NDOT pre-qualified. This does not apply to utilities, which is different for like MSD. So that said, the second lowest bidder was 3D Company, with a bid of $2,394,000 flat 000. They are NDOT pre-qualified, so that meets all requirements of Title 8, and therefore I would recommend that, and our legal counsel would also recommend that we award the bid to 3D Company on that basis that they are NDOT pre-qualified and the lowest bid is not.
And just to be clear, this has gone back and forth through legal and such too, so it's been given due diligence and extra sets of eyes on it. So,
and just
I move approval of the.
Okay, so let's address this again because there's a bunch of people that have recently been talking about this and asking questions about this. So, Mr. Inappropriate Picture here was hired in as the city engineer / street superintendent for the city of Muncie. His job was to be the city engineer. He knows nothing really about. He's not like Duke Campbell was or other people who have been street superintendent of the city of Muncie. It's a very weird position that Reinauer has doing, where he's trying to make everybody basically these weird contract employees. Halfway, at some point through his career, Reinauer announced that he was no longer going to be working for the city of Muncie. He found a new job, but that he would be staying on as a contract employee until the city of Muncie hired a replacement. However, we have never hired a replacement. No one has ever said anything about it again. and a lot of people are really kind of starting to take issue with what's going on with him. Does he have the right or the ability to punish people? No, they're giving it to Donnie Wright to do. It's just they're messing up how things are done in the city of Muncie. It's very strange. He's now the president of the Muncie Sanitary District Board, and it's weird how much crap they give him as a contract employee. And I'm really going to start comparing and contrasting that with what Dustin does and with what goes on. Dustin Clark actually has and I'm sure he does too. Dustin Clark, I noticed last week, has a parking space as a contract employee. I'm sure that the city engineer does too. And it's very strange because they're all now contract employees. So it's a weird situation. Ridenhour is a weird dude.
Bidder, the second lowest bidder as presented by Mr. Wright, Leach, excuse me,
Second.
for the Columbus Avenue project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Do we have any comments or questions?
We'll just need to make sure it gets included in the minutes.
Yes, and
that it was-
we'll work with the language on that. You,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so motion carried. Thank you. Lacey, I've got wording. We can make sure we, just as Adam said. The next one is the approval of a bid for an ADA sidewalk.
Yep.
Work citywide.
All right, so same but different. Once again, I'm Leach City Engineer. So this is for ADA sidewalk work throughout the city. This was a unit price contract. So basically, each item of sidewalk was bid independently. We anticipate spending somewhere between $150,000 to $300,000 a year doing this. This is a 3-year contract.
What was that, Alan?
With annual renewals. Basically, that means contractor can come back, and as prices of things increase, and they can
Is
get
he
an adjustment
receiving?
with
I
the
don't
city's
know.
agreement. It's not one way. Board of Works will have to approve that whenever that new increase comes around. That said, we did have 4 bidders: EMB, Edward Jones and Edward, excuse me, Flatland Resources, and DC. DC was the low bidder. In examining their bid, it was determined that they had a fairly significant bust. They had not considered, 1, that this was a prevailing wage contract, and 2, that basically the cost of some of the materials exceeded what they bid without labor. So they respectfully requested that they withdraw their bid in the interest of, keeping things cordial. We allowed them to. So the second lowest bid, which was responsive and had correctly priced items to include prevailing wage and cost of materials, was Flatland Resources. Their bid was $46,541.36 for all items together. Those are read aloud already by Linda, so I will not do it again. Thank you, Linda. So I would recommend that we award the bid for the ADA annual sidewalk work to Flatland Resources, and I've got the contract for you to execute today as well.
And as I recall, the bid that was withdrawn was so significantly less. It was glaring, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I move approval of the bid with Flatland Resources for the ADA sidewalk.
And I'll second.
Okay. Again, thank you for all the due diligence and such. I mean, I know you're supposed to do that, but it's appreciated too. Okay. Do we have any comments or questions? Okay. Having none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ashton Land Surveyors presenting road dedication, the Han plat and survey. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Kathy from Ashton Land Surveyor here in Muncie, 325 West Washington Street. The goal on this property is we have a parcel of land that was annexed several years ago. It's right there on Morrison, just south of Heron Point, across the street from Copperfield Commons area. This property is in the city of Muncie, and what we're doing is dedicating 30 feet of road right away for a plat of a subdivision. We did a 1-lot subdivision, 1.85 acres of land, and we can't divide anything less than 5 acres per statute if I don't put it through a platting process. So we're dedicating 30 feet of the road right of way, which is the west side of the road on Morrison.
Okay. Okay. Do we have a motion?
Yes, I move approval of the road dedication as presented.
Second.
Okay, any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. We have several presentations from the Office of Community Development. Good morning, Gretchen.
Good morning, Gretchen Cheeseman, Director of Community Development. I have a contract with Old West End Neighborhood Economic Revitalization Corporation for the second phase of reconstruction, rehabilitation of the building at 719 West Charles Street. The amount of the contract is $126,527. which will be used to remove a rear addition and on the building. And that we got into working on the roof and found that there's a real severe structural issue in the basement that you couldn't see until you got on top of it. So they're going to be doing some shoring up of the rear wall, tearing the rear of the building off, and then making it weather tight for the next phase.
Okay, this is our historical rehabilitation.
Yes.
And the building is used for what currently?
The building right now is vacant.
Okay.
It will be for permanent supportive housing units, and it'll eventually end up as part of the big permanent supportive housing project that was funded by the state.
Okay.
In order for us to pass this building off to them, it has to be structurally sound. So
Right. Okay. I move approval of the contract.
Okay, you make a motion to approve the contract.
Yep.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great, thank you very much. Community Development Southern Terrace contract? Good morning.
Good morning. Melissa Poulin. I am the Home Investment Partnerships Program Coordinator for Community Development. Presenting a contract with Southern Terrace LP for our 2023 home grant in the amount of $199,000. This is going to fund a project which will ultimately develop 50 housing units, relatively scatter built across a couple different parcels, of which 4 of those will be our home assisted units. These will be for low income households.
Great. Do we have a motion to accept this?
Yeah, I move approval of the Southern Terrace contract for $199,000.
I'll second.
Do you have any comments or questions? Okay, having none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Motion carried. And we then have some bids to open. Nikita, you're going to explain maybe to this for some housing rehabs from roofs and go ahead.
Yeah, Nikita Adams, Community Development Planner. We have changed the way that we're doing the roofing on our homeowner rehabilitation projects. We got that contract approved earlier in the, or I guess last year now. And we are just having a contractor work through us and then reach out to the actual roofing contractors themselves, and then they'll submit bids this way. So that's what we're opening now.
Okay. And Linda?
Yes, just looking through these, we have 4 bids, all from the same bidder out of Newcastle for 4 different properties. These are all by Regal Roofing and Construction. The one for 2000 East Carver. Find what the amount is. Presumably, once I get one of these right, the others will fall into place.
Not all forms are the same, are they?
No. This first one is roof only, and the total price is $9,388. The second one is for Monroe. Roof and gutters only for $24,813. This one is for 1937 West 16th for a roof, $56.77. Roof and gutters only, $10,228. I assume you want us to take these under advisement.
Linda, could you mention again who these are from?
Regal Roofing and Construction from Newcastle.
Okay, thank you very much. So you're going to take these under advisement. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you very much. Do you have any other points of business? I just want to mention one thing. I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Seifert. She's a loyal watcher online. Saw her yesterday at Subway, and she just came over and said hi. And so I just wanted to thank her and anybody who does watch online. We appreciate your involvement from afar. And thanks for being interested in our community. So, okay, having nothing else.
A loyal watcher.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
All right, so there was that, and it was pretty amazing. Yeah, hey, up here in Muncie and Delaware County, we don't like doing a lot of different things. Did they say 50 units for 199,000? Yeah, I think so. I think that is what they said. And the other thing, it just got brought to my attention. Does everybody remember last week, 2 weeks ago? Last week. No, it was last week when the Delaware County Commissioners went into their first commissioners meeting, and when Stephen Brand brought up to Ed Carroll about the title company for Madison County. Does anybody remember that? Well, I got a interesting message yesterday or today telling me that title company is owned by the sister of Chad Malacote. Chad Malacote is the Henry County councilor that's best friends with Ed, and they have a business together where they buy up a bunch of properties that I think Ed is doing something weird with. He's finding properties before they put them out and they go to tax sale, and him and his partner are buying them up beforehand and buying them for cheap and doing all this stuff. And it's all tied into doing weird stuff and getting things done before other people know about it. And it would help to have someone who does like title company stuff, whatever. Well, now I find out that company that they're giving that money to, that Stephen Brand asked about, is the reason they go there is because that's Chad Malacote's sister's company. So that makes so much more sense now. Okay. All right. From here, we go on to the Muncie Sanitary District Board meeting, which, why not? It too, this happened last week, and they had some change up there. Now, if anyone wants to see the difference in how meetings run, I don't know if many of you used to watch these meetings back in the day when Steve Brand was on them. Okay. Stephen Brand, excuse me.
Right.
But
morning.
I
Welcome
want
to the
you to
January
pay
8th,
attention to these board meetings now, because Stephen Brand is not on it. And just remember back to how organized Stephen was last week at the commissioners meeting, and then listen to how this meeting runs. There's a lot of different things that occur here, and I'm going to have to go. I guess I hate this because I hate dealing with the sanitary district, but I guess we'll go because I'm going to have to tell Mr. Bathrobe here what he did wrong. So let's listen.
2025 Board of Sanitary Commissioners meeting. I will call this meeting to order at this point. If you'd all please rise with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today we have a full slate in front of us, no excused absences, so we do have a quorum. Our first item of business will be an election of officers. If any board member would like to propose a slate or an individual position, I am open to a motion.
I'll make a motion for slate of officers. Adam Leach for president, Tim Overton for vice president, and David Smith, secretary. Motion made.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion as presented by Aaron for a slate of officers: Adam Leach for president, Tim Overton for vice president, and David Smith for secretary. Please vote now. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? I see 5 ayes and none opposed. So effective today, the officers for the sanitary district will be myself, Adam Leach, president, Tim Overton, vice president, David Smith as secretary. Congratulations, gentlemen. We'll continue onward. We'll now open the floor for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak will be given 3 minutes. Seeing no takers, we will continue moving forward. Our next item of business is consideration of December 11th, 2024 board minutes. Are there any comments, corrections, or other items from the board? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion to approve.
So moved. Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none. Board minutes are approved, 5-0. Our next item of business is consider register of claims totaling $5,755,432.22. Would any board member have items within the claims they would like to clarify for the benefit of the public? Seeing none, I will accept a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, claims are approved, 5-0. Our next item of business, District Administrator update, Mr. Rick Conrad.
Good morning, Rick Conrad, District Administrator. First, I want to thank or welcome Mr. Steve Selvey to the board. I also want to thank our folks from Engineering Department and Sanitation and Recycling for helping out the city with the snow removal earlier this week. Our crews often are called in during heavier snows to help out with some of the ancillary roads and parking lots. So thank you to you guys for that. Sounds like everything went well. At our last board meeting in December, a few of the commissioners touched on some of the accomplishments of the district in 2024, and I thought I would take the chance here to kind of expand on some other highlights with a little bit more.
All right, we'll go forward
challenges
from here
and help these communities get back on their feet. In April, Muncie was hit with a pair of storms that dropped a total of 7 inches of rain in the span of a week with neighboring communities. This agreement establishes the terms under which assistance is provided between 2 or more jurisdictions to allow for a more timely response and a more orderly sharing of resources whenever help is needed.
Okay.
Annual operational costs, as well as our future obligations for projects like the unfunded mandates for CSO separations and maintenance of the Army Corps built levees.
All right.
Made a number of changes to our personnel policies handbook. We completed construction projects like upgrades to infrastructure throughout the city in areas like Hoyt, Elsie, and a number of others. We completed the partial separation of CSO 7 and completely closed CSOs 13 and 33. Through a grant from the Ball Brothers Foundation, we began the installation of a new canoe launch at Lewick Avenue, and we've started plans for 4 more launches in the coming year.
Comments or questions?
A very busy and highly successful 2024, and that just bodes to the great work that our employees do, that you do. Thank you, and let's continue it into this new year.
Mr. Overton?
Yeah, ditto. Thank you for a great year, and look forward to 2025.
Oh, get rid of that blurry.
Ditto what everyone else just said. I may want to add one other thing. The document just went through the list of all those accomplishments. Is that something we can post on our website? Just those accomplishments and the awards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Selvey?
Thank you.
And obviously, thank you, Rick. That's a great report of a number of activities that we do. It's very hard to consolidate in any particular list the number of things that kind of happen to us throughout the year and problem solved, problems found. We just appreciate everybody that works for the district and the work that you do, Rick. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving on. We will not be having an department head update. There will be those will get scheduled soon. Old business. Does any commissioner have any old business they would like to discuss?
No.
Seeing none. New business. Seeing none. Additional board topics. Mr. Clark?
No additional board topics, Mr. President.
Mr. Overton?
Nothing today.
Mr. Smith?
Nothing today.
Mr. Selvey?
None.
I'll do my usual spiel. We've already thanked everybody, but I do just want to say that, it's a pleasure to serve the district. We look forward to basically, continuing all the good work that's been done in the past and continuously improving the organization. Every year brings new challenges and new opportunities, which is a really HR way of saying that, eventually things will screw up and then we will go fix it. It's what we do. It's what our department heads get paid for and our employees get paid for. And we're so happy that when they work here and they provide such quality service. And I just want to appreciate everybody for what they do. And basically my only tenet of government is that government should be boring. We're a utility, but we're a quasi-governmental entity. So I hope we remain boring and we keep improving every day. With that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Everyone have a good afternoon.
So, unlike Stephen Brand, he doesn't open it up for public comment at the end. Now, to his credit, I will say that I don't think anybody came in. So we'll have to watch this and maybe see if, because I do know that this is a meeting where people will start to come in because the meetings happen at 11:30. So maybe people go to lunch, come in or whatever. So hopefully he will offer that. I liked how Stephen Brand always did that, where he would offer the public comment at the beginning and then he would offer it at the end. I think that's how all meetings should be ran, but hey, I'm a crazy person. So he didn't do too bad. He's no Stephen Brand. And as far as being monotone and boring, that is one dude. I get where he's coming from, but he's got such an interesting life, like taking naked pictures, sending them around the county building and city buildings, and whatever else it is that he's doing. He's not, cooking and just in the naked. It's really crazy. So we'll continue watching and seeing what's going on with Adam and going from there. All right, now to quickly cycle through and listen to what the mayor of Muncie has to say during his 2 minutes of amazing rambling time. Let's listen to this. I can't imagine what he even has to say to us in a 2-minute window.
I'm going to touch base on.
Here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is Dan Ridenauer, your mayor here in Muncie. Today is Friday. It is January 10th. A number of things that I'm going to touch base on. It's obviously there's still snow, and we want you to all be careful. There's additional inches that could be coming this weekend, likely to be coming at some level. So just be careful as you're out and about. A couple of things we want to mention that I feel like are pretty important for people to know. Both the police and the fire, they have ratified their contracts with their membership. So we're currently waiting on signatures, and then we will take it to the council for that final approval. So we're excited about that. At Store Estates, they have 4 houses that are in the works. One is nearing completion. Now that's going to end up being more of a model home for them.
I do want to pause this because it's interesting that he and Dale keep talking about the police and fire contracts being done. I just went through the claims for the Board of Works that they voted on the 8th. And one of the things that they paid was they paid additional legal fees for the city attorney, for the administration's attorney, in the total of nearly $9,000 for their services performed during the negotiations. And it just blows me away that there is no talk about AFSCME. Listen, I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, Dan has broke that union. We're not going to hear any more talk about it. If the council's not going to pay them what they want to raise them, then AFSCME people's not going to get a raise, and it's going to be on AFSCME to push. I don't know what AFSCME's doing. I hope they're fighting. I hope they're pushing back, but I've not heard anything in a while. And in my opinion, I'm afraid that Dan has broke it. It's over. It's over. So that's that. Now we're getting into the DR Horton stuff.
But that one has definitely taken shape, and you'll see that. And we're excited with Store. They're also looking at closing on some additional lots so that they can get started on some homes in addition to the 4 already under construction. This weekend, there are a couple of things going on that we'd like to mention. One is the IPW wrestling event. That'll be going on at the Delaware County Fairgrounds. That will be at the Memorial Building. It'll be Saturday. It will run from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So that's an event a person can go and visit. There's also a Ball State men's basketball game at Worthen Arena on Saturday at 2 p.m. So if you're a basketball fan, you can go watch the Cardinals in that game. Then also coming up next week from the 16th through the 18th, I think it starts on Wednesday, the 16th through the 18th, is the Midwest Antique Fruit Jar and Bottle Convention, a very heavily attended event. Just when you see the people, just welcome them here to Muncie. We're happy that they're here, and that should be a fun time. And then last night, I just want to say congratulations to Notre Dame. They are now in the championship game for college football, so that's very exciting news. They had a big last-second win. I think they kicked the field goal with 8 seconds to go. So congratulations to Notre Dame and being in the championship game for college football. That is it for this week. We hope you have a great time, and we will see you next week.
That was that. Look how, I mean, just boom, bang, pow, right through it. He's so up. He's so uptight, anxious, and obnoxious. Do you think that Adam is going to be open to constructive criticism regarding how he runs the sanitary district meetings? No, I don't believe that he will. I don't believe that he will be open to anything like that at all. One bit. I don't think that he will be open to that at all. He doesn't like things like that. No. I don't think that he will, and it is what it is, you know. That's why we'll have to break him down and show him it doesn't matter if he likes it or not, because he's going to get it. And that'll be that. He doesn't like to be made a fuss. So maybe if we give him something and make a fuss for him for a couple of times, we'll break him of that. Okay. Moving on from that, I just briefly, before we move on from the city of Muncie, I do have to say, I have made a couple of social media posts here recently talking about the city council and talking about specifically the president, vice president, and the reading secretary. And I talked in a post about how I didn't like the fact that Brandon Garrett had told Rose Selvey as recently as the Friday before the council meeting. So the council meeting was on Monday the 6th. And on Friday the 3rd, Roe and Garrett had talked, and Garrett told Roe that he was going to still vote for her to be on that riverfront board. And I had said that, I didn't like that he was able to, tell her that, and then Monday go from supporting her to not supporting her, but he nominated Nora. And I called him out for that. Well, as had happened the last time, I've been drinking Arnold Palmer. As that had happened when I'd made the post before, his wife jumped on and started making all these comments. And I'm like, dude, this is not a good look. You cannot be having your wife being on here fighting your battles. That does not look good. So I called him, and he didn't answer me. And I left him a message, and I was like, hey, you told me that you wouldn't hide from me. You told me that you'd call me. If you also told me that you understood there would be times where I'd call you out for stuff. So maybe tell your wife to lay off, because this is part of being a government official. She doesn't have to like that I'm calling you out, but her jumping to your aid and making excuses every time I'm talking to you about real world, big boy type stuff, it doesn't look good. And lo and behold, he called me right back. He called me back. I was shocked, so I will give him credit. He launches into this reason why he decided to not nominate Roe for that meeting was that he said because of the way that she attacked Jeff Robinson during the November meeting, that just put him off. And I'm just thinking, what a load of crap. What's he talking about? if that's the case, then why did he not tell that to Roe when Roe called him Friday night? He didn't say, hey, Roe, I'm not going to vote for you because of the way that you attacked Jeff Robinson. First of all, Jeff Robinson is a politician. Everybody knows that Roe can be emotional and that Roe sometimes, jumps off on things. I think it's a little bit of the language barrier, and she admits it. And she talked to Jeff afterwards. The time that she went after Andrew Dale, her and Andrew Dale talked. It's just part of who Roe is. You take the good with the bad. But that seemed like an excuse or reason why it almost, I'll be honest, it seemed like something that Nora came up for him to say. Well, the reason you're not voting for her is because of how she attacked Jeff. But that doesn't make any sense, because then, okay, that maybe it is true. You still lied. You still told Roe on Friday you were supporting her, and then on Monday you didn't. And if you're going to lie to each other, I don't know how we're expected to trust you. So, that's that. And then I went on to tell him why I had a problem with Nora being on there. And he's like, oh, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I said, stop. I said, they are significant others, man. I don't know if they live together. They spend the night at each other's house every now and then. Their boyfriend, girlfriend are going steady. I don't know what you want to call it, but you cannot tell me that you don't think that's going to be a problem. I said, what needed to happen was Hans needed to resign and Nora could then take his position. To which Brandon says, that sounds like a good idea. I said, well, I've been saying it since before you nominated. So he's like, well, I'll have to get with everybody and see if we can make that happen. All right. I won't hold my breath, but I'll call you out when I don't hear anything else about it. So putting you on notice, Brandon. I'm expecting to hear what your conversation is with everybody when you bring it up. And really what I'd like you to do, Brandon, is bringing it up in the next meeting. At the next meeting in February, I'd like you to ask Roe. Matter of fact, maybe we could ask Hans to show up to the meeting, and maybe you guys could address him there. Maybe he should resign, so then you guys can appoint someone new, and there won't be a conflict of interest. Matter of fact, you could have him resign and put Roe back on the board. How about that? Sounds like a plan to me. So I just want to put that out there that he did call me and we did talk. And, I appreciate that he called me. I don't know where the conversation went. I mean, we left like being friendly, but I don't hold out hope that the call meant anything. So time will tell. And if or when I'm wrong, I'll say I was wrong. And when I'm not, I'll also say that I wasn't wrong. So we'll go from there. All right. Really briefly, I want to remind everybody, Tuesday at 6 p.m., there is a Madison County Council meeting. It will be the first meeting of the year. We will live stream that here at this channel. Normally, I don't live stream the Madison County meetings, but I think what's her name? Catherine Callahan. It wants to start live streaming them through the way that she does it. She will start live streaming them through the Spotlight. I said, hey, I'm down with that. So I'm going to show her what to do with all that. We're going to live stream through here. So the council meeting will be live streamed here at 6 p.m. If you're interested in tuning into that, you can watch that. We will then break that down that evening once the meeting is over. So that will be interesting. And then at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025, the Madison County, oops, it's not the council meeting. It's the Madison County Election Board. The Madison County Election Board meeting will take place. And we will be live streaming that, and that will be a really big deal. So we'll be live streaming both those. You can watch both of those here live or after the fact. All right, before we roll, I've got just one more topic that I need to talk about, and it's this Josh Kimbrell deal. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the political spotlight. We want to talk about Joshua Kimbrell here, and it's this horrible news that on Friday, January 10th, 2025, the court from Randolph County, which is being headed up by a special prosecutor, Damn it. See, I don't like doing it because I have a flow, but I was trying to do it for because I was going to break it down and make it short of it. So we'll just do that one more time. Sorry, and we'll get it right this time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Political Spotlight, and we want to talk about the state of Indiana versus Joshua Kimbrell. And as I had noted in a recent episode on Friday, January 10th, 2025, the Randolph County Superior Court, which is being headed up by a special judge from Blackford County. The special judge is Brian Body. He has, for some unknown reason, made good on a continuance that Joshua Kimbrell had filed in the last couple of weeks. This is the third or fourth continuance that the judge has given the defense, and this being after the second continuance, the judge said there will be no more continuances. That being said, they still put in another continuance after that, and then they put in this continuance. The Joshua Kimbrell trial was slated originally to start on Wednesday, January 22nd, Thursday, January 23rd, and Friday, January 24th, and wrap up then on that Friday. However, a couple weeks ago, Josh's attorney said that he could not be there on Wednesday. And to me, if this was Delaware County, our judges here would be losing their mind. I was under the impression that this judge would say too bad. However, he worked with the attorney. It's Sam Beasley. That's Josh's attorney out of Muncie. Sam Beasley, he's a public defender, I believe. And he said, okay, well, we'll postpone the Wednesday start date, and we'll kick the start date over to Thursday, the 23rd, and the court date will be the 23rd and the 24th, and we'll just go we'll go long both days, and we will go till it's done on Friday. And then lo and behold, for whatever reason, they put in a continuance. Joshua put in for a continuance just about 2 weeks ago. Matter of fact, when he put the continuance in, he was a day late because the judge told them that they had 2 weeks to put in for a continuance. And I don't know why he gave them that option, but he did tell them that if they needed to put in for a continuance, they had 2 weeks to do it. And for whatever reason, they waited the 2 weeks and did that the very next day. Again, I thought there's no way the judge is going to give them this continuance. He's already said no more continuances. Then they did it after the time period. All right. Now, before we go down and we look at what occurred from all of that, I do want to remind everybody that this state of Indiana versus Joshua James Kimbrell case number 68, D as in David, 01-2401, F as in Frank, or felony in this case, F1-4 or 0004, if you want to give it the four numbers, is in Randolph County Superior Court number 1. And it does currently say there are only 3 charges. It does say that there's only 3 charges. However, I reached out to the Randolph County Prosecutor's Office, and they have said there are actually 6 charges. I don't understand why there's a discrepancy between what's filed here on the screen in this criminal case summary versus what they say, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt, and we will go with that until I hear otherwise. But I don't know what to believe in this situation. Okay. And I'm very disappointed. So we go straight down here to the end of the case history, and we see that on the 10th, last Friday, the judge granted the motion for continuance. Court grants defendant's motion to continue the jury trial. It's reset for 3 days. So instead of the jury trial taking place on January 23rd and January 24th, it will now be 3 days in May 7th, May 8th, and May 9th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. Unfortunately, I was right about this. I hate being right about this. And I'll be honest, I'm not even convinced that this will go in May. It could very well be August before this is heard. And it's completely insane that this is the case. Now, I blame everybody involved. I blame the judge, Brian Body from Blackford County, the special judge. I blame Sam Beasley, Kimbrell's attorney. Okay. I blame the prosecutor, Mr. David Dowley. And I blame Josh for this. I blame all of them. This is gross. It is a total miscarriage of justice. And this is crazy for a couple of reasons. Okay. Number one, this is crazy. Probably most importantly, it's crazy because Joshua Kimbrell walked into the Randolph County Sheriff's Office back in December of 2023, and he self-reported every aspect of what the crime was that he committed. He self-reported every aspect of it. They were not hunting him. They did not set him up. This was not some kind of a get Josh scheme. They weren't looking for him. They didn't want to talk to him. They did not know anything was amiss. Josh had been caught by his, at the time, wife. It's his ex-wife. Josh had been caught. They had argued about it over the entire evening. And the next day, after signing over the titles to their vehicles and making a few quick last-minute plans, he left their house and he walked to the Randolph County Sheriff's Office, which is just like a block and a half away. And he walked in and he self-reported every aspect of his horrible crimes to the sheriff's deputies on duty, to the detectives there. And every aspect of what Josh self-reported that day is what he's charged with. The charges are based off of his words, what he self-reported. So plead guilty, all right, you asshole. Plead guilty already. Get this shit over with. Quit trying to loophole out of this. Josh is a piece of shit. You committed some piece of shit crimes, and you need to be locked up in prison like the piece of shit you are. But there's more reasons why this is screwed up. And I know this is going to sound like I'm defending him, and I'm not. But I'm just speaking as an American, as a constitutionalist, okay? I believe Kimbrell did this, and I believe he belongs in prison for as long as he possibly can be there. That being said, Kimbrell has been waiting in a county jail for this trial for over a year now. And while, again, I fully believe that he is a piece of shit, go back to my last comment. It's crazy that an American citizen who is under the Constitution, innocent until proven guilty, can be locked away in a county jail for over a year without having their day in court. Now, I blame this on Josh because he's trying to loophole his way out of this and just trying to delay the inevitable. All right. And I blame it on his attorney, and I blame it on the prosecutor, and I blame it on the judge because they could put an end to this. It's just crazy that this is what's going on. And last and most importantly, there are living, breathing people out here that have been affected by this. At one point, they were the victims of this, and they are working on becoming the victors in this matter. But these people who are working through the healing process, in order for them to truly start healing, they need for this piece of the puzzle to be over. This piece of the puzzle needs to be done and over with. And it really can't start the healing process with these folks until after this trial is concluded. So the state of Indiana, being led by Randolph County Prosecutor David Dowley, needs to find his balls and figure this out. And the judge needs to buckle down and do the right thing here. This is insane. I don't know if I believe that it'll be done in May. It might be done in May, but who knows? I don't have any reason to believe that there couldn't be another continuance or two out of this. My hope of hopes is it'll be done in May, but time will tell. And just to end, I have not heard anything more about Lewis. The last thing that I heard is that he will be heading back to the United States soon.
Look in my case, dear.
Uh-oh. From the deal with Lewis?
Lewis, look him up in my case.
Uh-oh. Let's go look this up. What's his last name? Gallion. Hey. So is he back?
Well, there's that motion filed on the what? The 8th? 7th?
Court orders denying defendant's motion for placement in an alternative facility pending trial filed. Order denying. Okay, so what I will do is tomorrow, first thing, I will call about this and see. This could be a situation where his attorneys have filed this ahead of time because they don't want him placed in Randolph County. I wouldn't want to be placed in Randolph County if I was Lewis either. And let me tell you something. I've long said that if we see Lewis come back and we see anything hinky with where he's placed, it means he has information. And I think that's interesting. He's scared of jail and Josh is scared of prison. Yeah, listen, the reason I'm so, because everyone's like, what's it matter? He's locked up. You don't understand. Randolph County, 90% of the people locked up in the jail in Randolph County are sexual offenders. child molesters, rapists, other sexual perverts and weirdos. Okay. A whole host of pedophiles, deviants, freaks. Okay. Josh is just another one of the boys. And they look at him, they're like, it's civic duty, civic duty. Look, he's a jailhouse attorney. He's trying to get us a case. So he's a king. He's living like a king in Randolph County Jail. I want him to be sent to the DOC where ain't nobody going to care about civic duty. They're going to be pulling a civic duty. And they're going to be showing him their civic duty. And that's what I think he needs. Louis Galligan, on the other hand, while he might be looked at as a hero or another person, just one of the boys with the rest of the perverts and the weirdos and the freaks, I think he's afraid of the people who would have access to him in there. So I will find out what this means tomorrow. Like I said, I haven't heard anything about him being back. So I wonder if this is just something, I wonder if it's going to be soon and they're trying to get this thing started. But apparently the judge denied it. So I think that's interesting. What I want to know is there let me see who the judge in the case is. Circuit court. So it's in circuit court. Let's see if there's a... notice as defendant has fled to UK. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh. Hearing journal. This is February 2024. State of Indiana appears by David Daly. Defendant fails to appear for initial hearing. State request warrant to be issued for defendant. After reviewing charges, court notes that a level 1 felony has been filed. Court directs clerk to issue a warrant for defendant. No bond. Judicial Officer J. Tony. So yeah, it's he doesn't have a special judge. It's J. Tony and Daly. So this will be interesting. I want to get Josh's case over. I'm excited to see what happens with this one, just because I want to see who all he tells on or what happens. And I think it's very possible he could have a story to tell. So he'll be labeled a flight risk. All that. He'll be locked down. He won't get. He's done with bail. He won't get a bail again, because it's not like he just skipped out on bail and just was driving around Winchester and got caught a little bit while longer. That dude took off and went to Europe, and it's been all this time getting him back. He won't get bail again. Not on this situation. So time will tell. All right, I'll keep you guys posted. Obviously, it's Sunday. We are back. We never went anywhere because we've been here both Friday and Saturday. We will be back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. So check us out there. Be sure to give us a like before you leave. Subscribe if you haven't. Click the bell because you want to get notified when we go live and release other content. Thank you for everything. No, he walked in, and there's more to that, Heather. We talked about that in one of the episodes. I'll send you a message and let you know. There's a whole lot to it. I'll give you the information on that. All right, you guys take care. Have a good start back to the work week tomorrow, and we will see you back here at 9 p.m. Take care. God bless. Good night. Goodbye.